Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. How are you doing this fine Wednesday morning, losing all track of time, days, and whatever else? I hope you're all doing absolutely splendid. My name is Bibby, aka We've Got a Beanie, aka Top Guy Bibs, Top Guy, everything, Savior of Morrowind, blah, 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 blah. You know the score, you know the score. It is, again, just me for today. Hopefully, this will not be as long as yesterday's, having to watch it back yesterday and it went on for like an hour and 20 minutes of just me rabbiting on with myself. That is not going to be the case today. But this is the scoop. It is your daily during the week, obviously, because weekends are for playing golf and doing whatever else, or Graham finding burgers in the middle of Manchester somewhere. But this is your daily weekday video game podcast. You see, I think I'm okay as a presenter, as a co-presenter. Actually leading something, I am absolutely terrible. This is all Graham's bit. He's even written it down for me, and I'm still managing to fuck it up. So I apologise to each and every one of you that joining me for this, and I'm still managing to butcher it. But I'll just read what Graham's put, because that probably makes more sense, doesn't it? My name is Graham Dane. No, it's not. My name is Bibby. I'm joined by the man that we call Bibby. No, that's me, because Graham's not here. We give you our thoughts and impressions on the breaking news stories, and we want your thoughts and impressions on our thoughts and impressions so that we can share those with us live on twitch.tv/Ice Cream Uploads each and every weekday at 10 a.m. ish. Yeah, that's the thing that we've had written down for like eight. Well, for how long have we been doing this for now? 14 months. We've had that written down, and I still managed to butcher it every single morning. But anyway, besides the point. This is the scoop. This is your daily dose of video game news that we bring to you each and every weekday at 10 a.m. ish. Uh, Big issues in the chat from Show. Good morning, sir. Good morning, Enix. That intro makes me miss Bridie, says Show. Everyone misses Bridie. She did actually stream yesterday. I don't know if anyone still follows her or has. I don't know if anyone still follows her or hasn't followed her that wants to now follow her. She did actually start streaming again yesterday after a long hiatus. I think she's moved house again. She's managed to get internet. She's managed to get a PC to start streaming. So if you do want to follow her at X ICU channel and obviously Jelly Media employee. I think it's Bridie Bunny on Twitter. Feel free to go over and give her a follow. She does great streams. Wicked Slippers is also in the chat this morning. How is it going, mate? Shogun dropping the shagger. We need an emote. We need a shagger emote. It's getting to the point now where we need this because we've got the ish, which is I think now probably the most used emote that we've got on the channel. But yeah, this is the scoop. I've mentioned this about 7 billion times. This is a video game podcast. I've mentioned that 7 billion times. We go live each and every single weekday at 10 a.m. ish. Mentioned that about 7 billion times, but it is just me again for today. Hopefully, Graham will be getting back on the mend soon. I have texted him. I haven't heard anything from him, so I think he's still in a coma. So I hope he's okay, and I hope he does obviously get better soon. But yeah, as I mentioned, now 8 billion times. This is a podcast. It gets put into a podcast form, so if you don't want to digest it live on Twitch, then you can do that either on YouTube after the show's finished, or later on podcast services including Spotify, SoundCloud, Google Play, and iTunes. Managed to nail all of those. We want your thoughts and impressions live. If you are here, let yourself be known in the chat because we want you to hear your thoughts and impressions while we give ours, so that everyone else can have a nice little conclusion to the topics that we give, so that everyone goes home happy. If you are watching this on YouTube, we do like to leave a comment underneath so that you can leave comments underneath that. It's all a nice little party. Do you know what I mean? We want to hear your thoughts and impressions as well. Because why would you want to hear one northern bloke talk shit for 45 minutes? But I hope everyone's doing well. Speaking of people that I hope is doing okay, because I know he's a really top guy, but I hate the fact that he's finished work already for Christmas. Asim Tanvir, the Shagger, is now in the chat. He says, "Morning, beautiful people. Shogun with the Mr. T. Oh, yeah, famous content creator, Shogun Ash. Indeed, indeed. I hate the fact, Asim, that you finished already. I mean, I finished on Friday. That doesn't mean to say that the show will not go on. We will still be giving you live content around obviously whatever schedules we have. I still want to be going out and playing golf. I've now got the opportunity to start playing golf in the morning. Not today because it is pissing it down, but the weather's meant to be okay next week, so I might want to be able to go and do that because I've been confined into my house for the last 7 days. So that'll be nice to be able to go out and play again. Asim says he's off until the 11th of January. Time that's such a long time. What's that? 3 weeks? I think it might even be more than that. That actually makes me a little bit sick. 1, 2, 3. It's like 3.5 weeks. Oh. Did you have a load of time accrued up? That's a fucking joke. That. Chappers is here saying, "Big ting, morning Shagger. How's it going? Some of us work for a living, you asshole." Well, I mean, if you can call this working, I'll take that each and every weekday at 10 a.m. ish. Nice little plug. Anyway, we had an hour and 20 minutes of my stupid voice yesterday. We're not going to make it last that long today on purpose. We will be streaming again after this. We'll be playing video games. I don't know what yet, but we'll be playing video games after this. So, I think we should just move into the first article. What do you say? What do you say? Yeah, took 1 day holiday since I joined 2K. Oh, okay. So you probably deserve it then. Yes! Chappers with the tier 1 sub for 6 months. You absolute fucking legend. Love you, mate. Thank you very much. Let me get rid of that and get rid of that. I was meant to do the chatbot stuff yesterday while Graham was on and alive at his PC because he put chatbot on. I need to do it from my side, but I don't have the facility to do that, so we haven't got Skype. We haven't got chatbot again. But you know where to find us. It's at Ice Cream Uploads across absolutely everything. Reaching to the converted here. Right, first news article. It's one that we was meant to cover yesterday, but we didn't because we went on for too long. Talking about Cyberpunk as per usual. You may have seen it. It is the leading story that I posted on social media today. So let's just jump right into this bad boy. EA overtake Take-Two with 1.2 billion. That's a lot of money, obviously, for Codemasters. Now, this obviously broke quite a few days ago. I think it was actually maybe Saturday, but obviously we haven't been here. But we've had updates since, so it's nice to be able to get a nice little roundup concluded article, isn't it, really? Casey Dice, thanks for the... Is that an emote? Is that an emote? 27 delivery. Disgusting. Right, okay, let's go. Again, this is why Graham hosts, and I'm the co-host, because he does this so much better than I do. EA overtakes Take-Two with 1.2 billion offer for Codemasters. EA has offered 1.2 billion to buy Codemasters. I've said that 4 times now. The Codemasters board have accepted the offer, which is now subject to a shareholder vote. Grand Theft Auto and Borderlands publisher Take-Two was in talks to buy Codemasters, which is based in Southern Warwickshire, after he had tabled a cash plus shares deal worth nearly $1 billion. But EA's offer is all cash offer of £6.4 for each ordinary share in Codemasters. Codemasters has now switched its recommendation to the EA offer. EA hopes to complete the deal in the first quarter of 2021, but there are a number of hoops in which the company must jump through before it gets over the finish line. For a start, Take-Two could come back with an improved offer sparking a bidding war. Take-Two issued a holding statement today saying it considers its position in relation to Codemasters, and further announcements will be made when appropriate. If EA is successful, the deal would bring the UK's racing game powerhouse developer under the same umbrella as Criterion. Jesus Christ, I want to say Citron then, but it's really not. Criterion, the developer behind Burnout Need for Speed. Codemasters develops a number of owned intellectual properties, including Dirt, F1, and Grid. EA and Codemasters have a shared ambition to lead the video game racing category. Codemasters chairman Gerard Florin said, I'm so bad at pronouncing names. I'm so sorry. I'm really fucking these up. The board of Codemasters firmly believes that the company would benefit from EA's knowledge, resource, and extensive global scale, both overall and specifically within the racing sector. We feel this union would provide an exciting, prosperous future for Codemasters, allowing our teams to create, launch, and service bigger and better games to an extremely passionate audience. Okay. I don't know where to start with this, to be perfectly honest. This will be a massive acquisition, obviously, for EA, in terms of taking Codemasters, which is a massive name. I mean, that they haven't brought out an LMA manager in what feels like forever, and that's obviously the biggest IP that they could have had. I'm joking, but they haven't brought out an LMA manager for such a long time. I don't know why they stopped doing that. But anyway, moving on to it. Yes, they will take all of the big racing games under one umbrella, which can't be good. The competition is there for a reason. So what will be left? Project Cars, Forza, and what's it called? Alessio. I can never pronounce it. I can never pronounce that one. What's the other racing game? Alessio. Obviously, Gran Turismo as well. Yeah, sure. I can't remember what it's called. Racing game, PS4, Disney Cars. I don't think that's what it's called. I can't remember what it's called. I can't even Google it because I don't know what it's called. I'm just typing racing game PlayStation 4 and hoping that something comes up. Um, there we go. Racing game. The Crew, obviously, that's part of Ubisoft. Here we go. Assetto Corsa. That's it. Well done, Asim. Assetto Corsa. Yeah. Who's that made by? I don't think that's Codemasters. Oh, is it Codemasters? No, it's not. It's not Codemasters. It's Kunos Simulonzai. Or 505 games. Take your pick. But yeah, there isn't that many games. Crash Team Racing, obviously. But yeah, I think if EA managed to take all of these main games, these main racing games under one umbrella, that's not good for competition, is it? We've got a few other ones that are knocking about, but having all of these under one thing, I mean, EA will take these games even more global than they probably would do, but I think that will probably piss a lot of other people off as well, because obviously they have already got Need for Speed, they have already got Burnout, but taking games like Dirt, F1, and Grid, it's they're obviously massive games in the right. I was in Iceman's stream yesterday. I don't know if he's in here, but what he is a massive F1 fan and he streams F1 all the time. What would that game look like and how would it change under EA's? I mean, the presentation would be amazing. Like if anyone has played FIFA on the PlayStation 5, I hate to say this, but when you first boot up the game and you end up at is it Liverpool versus PSG, and you see the bus coming into the bus coming to the drop off point at the back end, and you see all the fans outside and the players getting off the coach and walking through the tunnel in the change rooms. The presentation on FIFA is unbelievable, and it's the same with most EA games. The presentation is incredible. It's the whole package. Now I imagine if they take something like F1 and they make it like a TV broadcast from every standpoint, from the fans in the stands. I mean, I don't play F1 games, so I don't know if it's already like that. But having the whole I don't know another word for presentation. I don't know another word for the presentation part of it, but to be able to have the broadcast studios and being able to go inside the wherever you drive the car into, you know, where they go into when they have the wheels taken off and stuff like that. What's that called? I don't know. But just the entire I don't know of another way to actually put this, and it's just words coming out of my mouth. Is it the pit? I wanted to say the cockpit, but that's surely where they sit in the car in it. I was about to say F1 is already telling like says show. Yeah, I mean, I don't play F1 games. I just think having the EA brand behind it and the bells and whistles that EA are so good at putting on is fantastic. Obviously, the global scale that they can reach is also fantastic. It's just the other things that are around it which are of interest. Now, will they bring this is just a pipe dream stuff. This probably would actually make me play F1, but if I could play an F1 game where it's like pro clubs. Oh god, where am I going with this? It's like pro clubs. So it says there's 13 people watching this live now. If us 13 was part of a club and we could go out and drive and win competitions and then bring money back to our clubhouse like our own brand, we was ICU F1 team or whatever, and we had a little shitty clubhouse. It was just a shed, and then you bring your car back and you can put new wheels on them, and then you go out and win races. You bring more money back because you've won the race. You get the trophy. We could build a trophy cabinet for you. We can then, because we've had, I don't know, £30,000, we can get another shed. We win £1,000,000, we can build a clubhouse. You know, that kind of thing. That would be mint. That would be amazing. But I don't play F1. This is just all fucking spitballing stuff. But I just think having all of these games under the EA umbrella would be a good move. I mean, the board of directors, that's obviously where they're saying they'd much prefer to go with EA because of all the knowledge and contacts that they have would be amazing for them. But as a fan of, well, I'm not a fan of F1, or I am a fan of racing games. I mean, I haven't played one in a while, but I am a general fan of racing games. I just think that having competition is what makes other things thrive, but not having them, I don't know what they'll do with them. I mean, again, I am not fit to be able to comment on this. Obviously, it would be nice to have someone who is a massive racing fan, who knows racing inside out. And I don't mean someone who just plays the game, that knows the actual sport inside out of what EA could do to bring that in. That would be obviously nice to know. But I think from an outside standpoint, I don't think this is probably a good move in terms of what the fans want. I mean, what's the chat saying? What's the chat saying? Look, I'm just going to scroll back up and take a swig of my brew because I'm already talking too much. Asim says, all I will say is going by history, I'd expect coders to be very different or not to be around in a few years if EA nab them. Again, that's a massive danger in it. You end up EA is going to take their IPs and then they can do whatever they want with them. That means that Codemasters could actually defunk, and you know EA just inherits everything to a different studio. It'd be nuts to kill off F1. Good morning, sir, says Tito. Apologies for my tardiness. Apology accepted. They would, but they will kill it, says Chappers. Show was trying to help out with Gran Turismo. Casey Dice said Disney cars. Either by shutting it down or driving them into the ground for long enough and no one buys them. I mean, what are the sales like for F1? I genuinely have no idea. Honestly, I say this wholeheartedly, says Chappers. Fuck EA. Tito says, as he beat me to it, ask him, fuck my life. Ad says, I finally see that we sacked Graham. No, unfortunately, Graham is still slowly recovering. As I said, I texted him this morning, I haven't heard anything back. I think he's still in a coma somewhere. He said over the weekend that he was just in and out of consciousness. Don't know if he was just being dramatic or it was actually the truth. Let's say F1 is already right TV like the pit lane or paddock, says Asim. F1 is basically as good as it could be, really, presentation-wise, but there are little bits here and there that budgets could help that will tear the soul out of it. That is my fear, chappers. That is my fear. I've said I haven't played an F1 game. I think I probably played one back on the Xbox 360 when they give it away for free. But I never play them each. It's just, I don't know what it is about F1. I just can't get into. It's like rugby. It's a sport that the whole of the UK seems to absolutely love. I follow a lot of people on Twitter that are mad about it, but it just seems a bit fucking boring. Do you know what I mean? It's the same thing. Like, I love Gran Turismo. It's exactly the same premise, but again, I haven't played a Gran Turismo game in what feels like the longest time. I haven't played. I think The Crew 2 was probably the last racing game that I actually played and thoroughly enjoyed because it just had that Need for Speed Underground kind of feel to it. Obviously, not as good, but it just had that. Show says, I know what you're going for, and it's a brilliant idea. In terms of what I was saying about having a clubs like mode, that'd be great, like Test Drive Unlimited sort of thing. Tito says we need a new Ultimate Soccer Manager. Enix says Fallen Order was brilliant, but yeah, EA are generally terrible. Dave says, I remember as a kid thinking that the pit stop was where drivers go to the toilet because I thought it was called a piss stop. I mean, yeah, having to hold it in for a couple of hours isn't obviously great. I mean, do they piss themselves in the cockpit? I don't know. Chat overview, generally negative. Yeah, that's it. I don't think this is... From a business standpoint, it makes absolute sense for Codemasters to take the EA side. I mean, I'm sure we talked about this about 5 months ago when this was on the table and we had the choice between EA, Take-Two, and I can't remember who the other one was. But we was all in agreement, even in the chat, as well as me and Graham, that Take-Two would be, we'd hope, the best step to be able to take, because then you would still have the EA and then whoever it will be rivalry. I think EA taking them from a fan perspective isn't good for us. For a business perspective, it's absolutely amazing for Codemasters because that's a lot of money to be able to get from them. F1 sales aren't astronomical, but at the same time, monopoly on the market. Again, yeah, is it the only F1 game that's out there? Casey Dice says, quick Google, first article, F1 2020 overtakes The Last of Us Part 2 at #1 UK charts. That's very interesting. At what point, though? I can't imagine it came out at the same time as Last of Us. Was this like 3 or 4 weeks after the fact? Abu Dhabi GP wouldn't have helped them. Kappa. Morning, Gagad. How's it going? F1 2020 is a great game and a great experience, which sold huge because of the big influx of influencers who turned to it for about 6 weeks when it came out. I mean, 6 weeks is a long time to be able to stream games. I can already see. I didn't want to mention the name again, but a few people who've been streaming Cyberpunk obviously aren't having the best experience now, but they're tied in to be able to do that for the foreseeable until they probably complete or their agreement comes out. I've seen Bateson playing Dirt 5 for about 3 weeks, and he looked like he was enjoying it. I mean, you can usually tell when you're watching a sponsor stream whether or not they're enjoying it or not. But genuinely, he looked like he was enjoying Dirt. I mean, I haven't played Dirt. What was the last? Did Dirt come out on the 360? Was there a dirt game that came out on that? Because I feel like that was probably the only one that I'd played. It couldn't have, it might not even been dirt. It could have been World Rally Championship. I don't fucking know. But yeah, racing games seem to be all same for me. There isn't anything new in them. But I would absolutely love to be able to play racing games if I had the steering wheel. I think that would be an absolute game changer. The last time I played a racing game was at Arcade Club with our kid, and he was 13 at the time. And yeah, it was the ones where he could have actually been World Rally Championship, or it could have been dirt actually. But you're in the driver's cockpit. You've got the VR headset on. You've got the gear shift. You've got the pedals, obviously, and you've got the steering wheel. And it blew his mind because he'd never experienced anything like that, and neither had I. Like that was just, it was next level. With you only meant to play it for like 10 or 15 minutes, but there was no one queuing up, so we got to play it for like half an hour, 40 minutes, and it was amazing. Like if I wanted to play a racing game, that is probably the one way I would never want to get out of it. Like I just want to play that all the time. It was amazing. But yeah, I would like to play another racing game. I think when the new Gran Turismo comes out, that's probably one that I'm going to break the seal on. I want to be able to pick that one up. In Gran Turismo Sport, I think is about £7 on the PlayStation Store now, but I don't think it's going to take use of the controller. I think using the DualShock 5 or whatever the fuck it's called now, I think that would be amazing with the haptic feedback and stuff. But yeah, I think that for me, I feel like the ship has sailed when it comes to racing games. Unless something brand new comes out and it changes the way that we play it, or Underground 2 gets remastered, I think that's probably it for me in racing games. Unless obviously someone wants to come in and sponsor it because we're super knowledgeable about it and I'll play it for anyone. If the price is right, obviously. The game sold around 22% more copies than it did last year. That's good. I think he's talking about 19 and 20. Coders have been on an EA-like content creator push for the last 2 years. Might not know, but they have some old EA people working in the marketing comms area in higher positions. Hence, the last year or so, you've seen them working with the same content creators EA do when it comes to FIFA. Very good point. I never even put 2 and 2 together there, Asin. That's an absolutely amazing shout. Wouldn't surprise me if EA buying them has been in the works for a while. I did wonder why we suddenly had an influx of FIFA guys who was playing F1. See, I didn't see anyone playing F1. That's obviously because I don't follow a lot of the FIFA content creators purely because I don't really play Ultimate Team, and that's obviously what FIFA content creators do. I'm having so much fun at the moment playing Seasons mode, like the online Seasons mode on FIFA, but I haven't got the time. It's like the same with my club. I haven't got the time to be putting into like grinding for the players, like doing SBCs and objectives and stuff like that. So just being able to pick up the pad and play in Seasons mode, win a couple of games, get a trophy, and then move on to the next one. That's my ideal scenario. So I don't really follow a lot of FIFA players, so I don't know whether or not they're doing sponsored content. There's only really Bateson that I follow, which is one of the fucking nicest guys you'll ever meet, by the way. And there's a lot big perception about him, and it really isn't like that at all. He's fucking one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. But Chapper says, that being said, I passed off that FIFA 20 is absolutely horrible, and everyone got sick of it by May, so the F1 push was welcomed. Yeah, I mean, that could be totally true. That could be totally true. I mean, if it gets to May and a football game is still going, that says a lot about the community that's playing it. Like, obviously, that's just a diehard. Like, my mate Mike, he will play a stupid amount of FIFA, but he doesn't play Ultimate Team and he doesn't play Season. He just plays Pro Clubs. He will easily put in 1,500 games of Pro Clubs. Easily. I think he had about 400 games in Pro Clubs on PS4 on FIFA 21 before he moved over to PS5 and they had to start again. That is the only game that he will play. He'll mix it up every now and again and he'll play a first player game. I think he's playing through the Call of Duty multiplayer now, and I told him to get Days Gone because he's got a PS5. But he will, no questions asked, put in a stupid amount of games on FIFA. And he won't get bored of it until the new one comes out because he just plays Pro Clubs. But it's a testament to a lot of people who are still grinding Weekend League in May and June of a football game that's been out for like 9 months. It's just one of them things. Shogun says Bateson's lovely. Absolutely correct. BG Man says, I think EA is horrible. Yeah, woo, big surprise. They did FIFA fans dirty, all the monetization stuff. I mean, I don't know whether or not Chucky's in here, but he posted about his copy of FIFA I don't want to dig him out for this, but he got a code for it, and he's played on a different account. He's not playing on a UK account, and he said now that he can't get into the point store, and it's something that we covered a couple of weeks ago. But the point store has been removed in a lot of countries, and that's the one that he has. But he doesn't put any money in anyway, because he only plays offline squad battles to be able to get his players. I mean, he ended up getting a freeze player and an icon from just playing single player, which is absolutely mental. But that's the route that he wants to take. That's the way that he wants to play. That's the way that he wants to play. So, is this something that will, happen across the board for all games, not just FIFA? That's very interesting to know. I mean, there's always court cases going on about whether or not monetization and opening packs and things like that and in-game loot boxes will take precedence in a lot of different countries as to whether or not it's allowed. I mean, if that happens, how are we, the consumer, going to end up paying for this? Because we will end up paying for it one way or another, whether or not it's opening packs in the game or they want you to grind for 3 months for an icon. I genuinely don't know. It's very interesting to keep that in mind. But hey ho. NX says pa ha ha ha. I don't know what that's in relation to. Play 2K on PS5. Lobbies are full in rookie area, Xbox Series. There is one person. Is that NBA? Play 2K NBA? Because it could be 2K PGA Golf. It could be 2K Battlegrounds. I have no idea, but I'm guessing that's NBA. Yeah, okay. He said, yeah, it's NBA. Right, okay. I mean, is there anyone... Is NBA on the Xbox like what PES is like on the Xbox? Because no one plays PES on the Xbox. There will be people in here that do play, but genuinely, there is not many people playing on Xbox. It takes an absolute age to be able to find anyone. The player base is predominantly PlayStation. Is that the same with NBA? I have no idea. Maybe Asim will be able to answer that one for us. But we're going to move on. NBA is popular on Xbox, but it's all sweats. I mean, you're playing an online game. If you're playing in an online game, I would absolutely expect there to be sweats. Like, it's just, I never understood the culture of people saying that it's just full of sweats. Like, you're playing online. Like, if you are playing online, you think that you're better than the person. Like, this is the evolution of playing 2-player games. Right, are you ready for it? Are you ready for it? Me and our kid is 2 years younger than me. We played games together when we was younger. I beat her at absolutely everything. A couple of years later, I end up meeting some friends. They come round. I end up beating them at Pro Evo. I'm the best in the room. More friends come in. I'm the best in the room. More friends come in. Best in the room. I then go online to millions of people thinking I'm the best in the room. And then millions of people are much, much better than I am. Like, if you're going into an online environment, a lot of time people will say that they're there to have fun, take part. I have no objections. That's probably what you're there for. But ultimately, you're playing online, you want to win. If that's the way that you want to win, sweating, this is why skill-based matchmaking came in. Because you're sweating your way to try and get as many wins as possible. Then you end up coming up against people who are also doing the same, and you ain't getting easy wins. That's the way that I've always seen skill-based matchmaking. A lot of people get pissed off with it because they have reached a ceiling and their sweats have now been matched with other sweats. And that's the way that I personally see it. I'm shit at most games, so I will be playing against shit players, and I will probably end up playing against shit players for the rest of my life because I'm not very good. I am rated about 650 on PES. That tells you the levels that I'm on. I've never even been close to reaching a champ badge on PES because I'm that shit. My glory days of playing PES was in 2010 in PES rankings, and I won a box copy of Saw. That is it. That was my glory days of playing PES. I will never reach anything close to that again. But it's every single game that you play is always full of sweats. As soon as you go into an online lobby and you play against someone online, you are classed as a sweat because you want to win. And if you end up winning, you win 5 games in a row, you play 10 games in a row, you'll end up playing against people that have played 10 games in a row. That's my opinion, and I don't think it's going to get changed by anybody. I know NX says, skill-based matchmaking is terrible, opens up to abuse constantly for people's stats for esports teams. Yeah, well, that's the whole point. That is the whole point. It's easy for me to be able to go into an online lobby and play against someone who's really, really good and lose 16 games in a row. Believe me, if anyone's looked at my PES record or my social media feed recently, you'll see that recently, over like the last 2 months on PES, I probably lost about 15 games in a row. I am shit. And then eventually I'll come up against someone who's also shit. I may beat them, go on a run, win 5 games, and then I'll end up being shit again. Why should I always have to get beat by someone who's absolutely amazing? I'd rather play against someone to make the game more enjoyable for me and play against someone who's also shit. That's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. My best games aren't even close to a pro's worst game. Exactly, Casey Dice. I mean, I work in esports. Esports is usually my day-to-day driver. Knowing what's kind of going on in the esports world, or looking to try and build tournaments elsewhere. For me, skill-based matchmaking is an absolute godsend. The people who don't like skill-based matchmaking are usually the ones who are competing because they're not winning as many games as they used to, because they're coming up against other sweats as well. Now you can quote me on that. You can say whatever you want about it, but usually it's usually people who are pros or aspiring to be pros who then come up against people who are aspiring to be pros. If using glitches in games and using different methods to try and win, other than using the things that have been given to you, is where I draw the line on that. But someone crossing the ball in for 60 minutes, like going full blue on Pez, using Pez as the because that's where my heart and soul is. Going full blue on Pez and knocking it around the back five is shitty. Absolutely, it's absolutely morally shitty. And then getting, especially when you're sat on a 1-0 win. Do you know what I mean? And I kind of don't know where I'm going with this. That's not fair. That's not fair. That's the way I'm going with this. That's not a fair way to play the game. Doing cutbacks when you get into the box, that's fair, because that's a goal scoring opportunity. Like, fair enough, it might be was it PES 2016 where crossing was so OP, it don't matter who was in the box. Messi could jump 16 foot in the air and head the ball into the back of the net. That's a way to score goals, but knocking it around the back five when you're in full blue, that's not great. That's not fair. But skill-based matchmaking, I think that's great. I genuinely think that's great. And he said, should see Halo. Yesterday went again, 9-year-old pros, and people just sat there getting slapped because no point trying, so wasted 20 minutes of my life. There's a kid who's 14-year-old who's just got 120 in Weekend League. Would you class him as a sweat, or is he just a really fucking good player? And he's just slapping everyone. Like, where do you draw the line? It might be a sweat because you're losing, but that's just life, innit? You get over it or get better and get good, scrub. Back on Halo CE, when GameSpy was still up, the whole lobby would stop me like Goomba. Casey Dice, for some people, winning is more important than fun. Nothing wrong with that. Find your lane. Exactly. I mean, I go into a game knowing that it could be a 50-50 dice throw, and I usually find out within the first 20 minutes of a football game whether or not I'm going to get slapped because I can't get the ball off them, or I'll miss an open net, and I think, yeah, this is it. This is where I'm going to end up getting beat. But I think ultimately, when it comes down to any kind of online game, as soon as you cross the line and you step foot into an online environment, it's very rare that you go into a mentality that I'm going to win this game. If you go into an online environment, expect it to be a battle. That's what you go online for. If you want it to just be a fair game, play with your mates. Just play with your mates. Skill-based matchmaking, I think, is a very good thing in terms of when it comes to esports, especially. If you want to be an esports player, you need to beat the world, and you need to expect people, especially if you're a known content creator or you're a known esports player, people up their game. It's like fucking West Brom yesterday. West fucking Brom came to the Etihad and got a 1-1 draw. Who in the right mind is going to back West Brom, apart from if you're a West Brom fan? I mean, even they was expecting to come and get slapped yesterday, but West Brom came, they upped their game, and they ended up taking 2 fucking points away from City, which we should have absolutely... Sterling and Gundogan missed 2 insane chances in added time to be able to get the points, but we didn't. So it's just the way it is. People are up their game to be able to play in the biggest things. I've got no problems with it, and I don't think there'll be many things that change my mind when it comes to skill-based matchmaking. I'm open for my mind to being changed, but I genuinely don't think that it would be, because I can see it from a different perspective. Mainly because I'm shit, but mainly because as an esport as a whole, I think genuinely that's the way for it to thrive. What's the point in esports players? I mean, we've seen it in PES League, and players have managed to beat everyone in their region, which might not be a strong region. They get to the world finals, and then they just get fucking obliterated. Like, there's no way that they would have ever... Like, them just being there is amazing for them. And I think genuinely they probably went there knowing full well if they're coming up against people like Uzma and Christopher. I always get his name wrong. Morales. That's definitely not right. But if you're coming up against people who are seasoned veterans of this game, they're going to go there and they're going to get absolutely battered. But that's just the way it is. Like, there is obviously different areas where it's a lot stronger than others, and I don't think that's probably common sense at this point. This is for the reason I gave up on League of Legends. Constant flame for not doing good in normal game modes. If you're with friends, it's kind of better, but we only get better by we only get bitter at each other for losing. I think genuinely you only get better by playing better players. Like, I've learned a lot when it comes to online games when I've played against people who are better players. There's a lot of them that are absolute dickheads that, especially in League of Legends. I played League of Legends briefly when it came out, but I was just shit at it. Like, I was so shit. I would just get people would just fucking badgering me for feeding constantly, which I was because I didn't know any better. But then a few people ended up taking me under the wing and showing me the ropes, kind of thing. Same with Elder Scrolls, to be perfectly honest. I ended up joining a guild, and they were showing me how to play the game as like a healer from that perspective, just to be able to get better and which order to be able to use my abilities. And I think that works well when you have people who are like-minded that want people to get better. But usually it's just full of people who are, you're letting the team down, and then it becomes an absolute chore. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, it's just one of them things. I've got a mate who slaps me 6-0 every time we play. He hardly plays it compared to me. Barry just got some Xbox Series X back in stock, says NX. Massive. I ordered another Xbox Series X yesterday. Mad. Samaldo says, everyone just has an excuse for losing online games these days. They lose to better players. It's only because they're playing sweats, tryhards, no lifers. It happens. You win some, you lose some. I think the imaginary numbers on a leaderboard is what drives a lot of people, and that is absolutely fine. If you're playing games to be the best, go ahead. You will end up losing some, and I think it takes a lot for someone to be able to say they was genuinely better than me on the day. I don't have that excuse because I'm fucking terrible and I know it. But there's a lot of very, very good players out there. People using exploits can just get into the bin, and that's on every single game. If you use an exploit to be able to win a game, you are just hot fucking garbage. And that's the only way that you can win. But in a one-on-one, in a fair night, like if it's, I don't know, a 1v1 on fucking Rust, for instance, or a 5v5 in Valorant, a CSGO match, a League of Legends match, or a FIFA or Pro Evo match, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be watching it and you're going to be like, fucking hell, this is them to win, this is great. And a chance and you might end up getting the dodgiest chance there might be, especially when it comes to a football game. A ricochet could land at a striker's foot, the keeper could dive the wrong way, it could go in off the crossbar or the post. We've seen it happen. I've been there when it's happened. I've seen Roxa miss. I mean, I don't know if anyone was there. I think Asim, no, I don't think he was there actually when you were in Portugal, but it was the regional final season 2 in Portugal, and it was Roxa's team. I think it was against AS Monaco in the semi-final, and Kepa put the ball across the box, and it was an open net. Like 99 out of 100 times, Roxas putting it in the back of the net. It was an open net technically because the keeper was out of position, and instead of just tapping circle or square to put the ball in the back of the net, unfortunately he did it a bit too late. So the player animation took 2 touches before he had a shot. He took 2 touches in an open net, which gave the other team enough time to be able to manual keeper, move the keeper back into position, and make one of the most unbelievable saves you have ever seen in PES League history. That was probably one of my favourite. I've watched a lot of PES League over the years, and obviously competed in some of them as well. Not to a massive fucking, not going to regional finals. I'm talking about playing at fucking home. But that is probably one of the most insane moments I've ever seen in PES esports. And the whole room, I've never seen a room jump up like that. It was unbelievable. But that's the things that we look. That's the small margins that we're talking about. And I'm all here. I'm here for that. I'm here for that. I want to see the best in the world play against the best in the world. I don't want to see the best in the world play against the new and up and comer and slapping them 8-0. That feeds absolutely nobody's ego, and it looks shit. So I want to see the best in the world play the best in the world. And that's why people get excited about World Cups, because if you're getting like a France versus Brazil in the final, that's a fucking great game. But no one wants to see Man City play Watford and Man City win 8-0. Like, it's just, that's the best analogy that I can come up with. And I think it's a very good one. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. Anyway, I'm fucking waffling on here. We're moving on to the next article, pronto. And it's a very good one, if I'm being honest. It's a very good one. And we're going to finish on something strong today. We're going to finish on something strong. I want you all to go away with a happy smile on your face. But I think this will do the job for the time being. Fortnite can now run at 120 frames per second on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S. Big dubs in the chat. This has been written by Campbell on The Verge. Fortnite will now be able to run at 120 frames per second on the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series S and X. The game has already received next-gen features like 4K at 60 frames per second and dynamic visuals when the new console is launched. But now Epic is updating the free Battle Royale game to take even more advantage of the hardware. 120 FPS can now be enabled in Fortnite's video settings, but like other performance modes in console games, it does come with some caveats. Turning on 120 frames will cap the resolution of the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X to 1440p rather than the usual 4K, whilst also reducing some graphical settings like shadows, post-processing, and streaming distances. On the slightly less powerful Series X, enabling 120 FPS caps on a resolution of 1080 and reduces graphical settings like shadows, unlike the Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5. Running at 120 FPS also requires disabling volumetric clouds completely. Epic does note that when 120 FPS is turned off, the Series S will now default to 1200 resolution rather than 1080p. All for all game modes, sorry. Not that I could ever tell the difference between the two. Epic's most recent spruced up Fortnite performance with an updated focus on getting the game running better on older PCs, but 120 FPS mode is more of a nice to have than anything necessary to continue enjoying the game. Epic also says that 120 FPS is only available on 120Hz displays, so you might not be able to enjoy it without a new TV or a monitor. For those who enable it, 120 FPS mode is available now in Fortnite. Nice. So just having a swig of my drink. I've got dry mouth already. Okay. So, I'm a little story now. Sit down. Come down. Sit down. Story time. Story time with Bib. FPSs on games have never really bothered me. And that's because I, through choice, play a lot of PlayStation 2 games. PlayStation 2 is my favourite console of all time. I played on my PlayStation 2 probably more during the PlayStation 4 era than I played on my PlayStation 4, and that's just a fact. So going from 30 FPS, I didn't see them. This sounds stupid now. This sounds absolutely stupid, but playing at 30 FPS never really bothered me until I played at 60 FPS constantly. And the biggest jarring thing that I found with this was playing Fortnite on my Switch compared to playing Fortnite now on my PlayStation 5. That was the biggest difference that I could come up with. Playing it on my PC was all well and good, but I didn't really... I know this is, again, this is because this is just how my mind works. It's very weird. Playing on my PC, I was playing at 60 FPS and it was nice. Then playing on my Switch, it didn't register that it felt different. It felt slow. But then I'm playing on my PlayStation 5 and it just feels completely different. I don't know whether or not it's because the graphics output everything compared to what my Switch on my PC is putting out, obviously. But it just felt weird. This now playing at 120 FPS, that is the way I'm going to play this game. There is no way I'm playing this game in anything else, apart from if I take my Switch to the office, or just want to have a few games downstairs. There is no way I'm going to play anything else but on the 120 FPS now. Is incredible, and we actually said on this show when the PlayStation 5 came out, is 60 FPS going to be the standard for the new gen consoles? Maybe not. If we're getting 120 FPS straight out the gate on your new gen consoles, that is unbelievable. I only have a 1080p monitor anyway, so it doesn't really bother me. I can get 120 FPS without the 4K. That's fine. I don't have a 4K monitor. I have a 120 Hz monitor. That's 1080p, but I don't have a 4K monitor. So this is going to run beautifully on mine. I'm going to be more than happy to be able to play at 120 frames. We will see how this goes. That's story time with Bib. I love this. I love that we're trying to get performance. We had this discussion the other day. Is it resolution versus performance? Is that what we discussed? And that's what we sat on. Because I think that's a very good way of putting it. I'm just going to roll through the chat. I'll happily hold my hands up for a loss online. Bit of tosses. There's a bit of luck involved, but that's usually how it works. It comes in it's fucking peaks and troughs. I win a lot of lucky games on football games, especially last night. I don't know if anyone's seen my goal that I posted of Kevin De Bruyne with a volley from the edge of the box. That was amazing. That's the first time I've scored one of those, and it felt good going in. I don't want to say lucky in that match because I worked the ball well. He was playing as PSG and absolutely destroyed me. I couldn't catch Mbappe. He was an absolute cheat code in that game. and I managed to score 3 cutbacks. Make of that what you will. And then I scored a penalty, which he gave away because he ended up taking down Sterling. And then I scored a volley to end up making it 6-5. I'll take that, but there is also games where I've ended up losing 6-5 because I've done something stupid like give away a penalty. So it's just peaks and troughs. I'm happy to lose games because I know I'm not that good. And rating means fuck all to me because I get fuck all out of it. BG man, one angry BG man. There we go. I've read the full thing now. I get it. Those who are willing to teach you few and far between. I played a LoL for 5 years and I admit I'm not that good at it. I've had the most arsehole players I've ever met with VS. I think CSGO is better than that regard. Samaldo is one of the most common I hear is that the other player team is cheating. Nice, I can get a 360 no-scope by a 13-year-old while they build an Eiffel Tower at FP. That's my thing. Right, so, let me get this right. It's something, I'm not a tech guy when it comes to this kind of stuff. Graham would be better at serving this than I will. If I'm playing at 120 FPS, I'm going to come up against people who are playing at 30 and 60 FPS. So does that mean I have the advantage over them? Does that mean I have the advantage over those because I'm seeing things at a faster rate than they are? I've no idea. I imagine so. When Angry says Fortnite is PUBG plus Minecraft, it's fun. I enjoy Fortnite a lot. I haven't played it over the last week or so because I've been trying to get Days Gone done, and I'm stuck on Days Gone, and it's pissing me off, which is why I just played PGA for about 3 hours last night, because I can't get past the bit. I will get past it eventually, but I'm stuck. As him says, sounds odd, but the jump from 30 FPS 60 is noticeably bigger than 60 to 120. You still feel the smoothness, but 30 to 60 is bigger, a tangible jump. When Angry says, I have an old PC and 15 FPS is good enough for me. Halo in 120 says NX. When Angry says, this is my dream. Sometimes you win, sometimes you know you're definitely the worst player. You do in terms of fluidity, movements, for sure, says Asim. So that's a nice little article for us to be able to move into the best article of the day. And it's something that I'm super excited to be able to announce. I mean, it got announced yesterday, and this is not an exclusive whatsoever. However, I'm going to treat it like it's an absolute exclusive. Let me know if you can hear this, because I am fucking about to hit the roof. Anyone hear that? Does anyone know what it is yet? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's time. It's time. Let's move over. Let's move over. Let's turn that desktop noise down a little bit. On comic book gaming, Xbox Game Pass adds a very popular game. Just in Time is a very popular game, but we're going to skip over that bit. Xbox Game Pass and Games Pass Ultimate, a very popular game today, but also at a loss to a very popular game. We've just read that. Let me turn this down slightly. And yes, this is like the 10-hour version of the song. Are you ready? Brace yourself. More specifically, the subscribers on Xbox One, Xbox Series S, and Xbox Series X can now enjoy one of the greatest games of all time of the last decade, Elder Scrolls Skyrim Special Edition. That said, the edition comes at a cost. No one cares about the cost. Xbox Games Pass now has one of the best games of all time. One of my personal favourites, and a game that I have bought on 5 separate consoles. Ladies and gentlemen, Skyrim has been added to Xbox Game Pass. There is literally no excuse for you guys to never play this game. There's genuinely there's no excuses. You need to play this game more than anything over the Christmas period. Fuck Cyberpunk, fuck Days Gone, fuck any other game. If you've got Xbox Game Pass and you have not played this game yet, you are doing life wrong. Let's just turn it off now because, you know, you need to be playing this game. There's nothing that I need to add to this now. No one cares about the games that's being taken off. No one cares. The game that is being added is Skyrim. That's all you need to know. That's all you need to know. You can play it to your heart's content. There's about 1,000,001 things to be able to do in that game. A lot of people guess right. Shogun says this is a new clip in the making. When angry, BG Man says Skyrim, me absolutely. The joystick junks is Dovahkiin, exactly. Thomas Dan, the Elder Scrolls. Oblivion was miles better. It was miles better. Oblivion is my favorite Elder Scrolls game. But yeah, it's coming, ladies and gentlemen. If you have Xbox Game Pass, please, 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 if you haven't played it, even if you have played it, just fucking get back into it, man. Just get back into it. There's no reason why you shouldn't be doing. When I agree with says, God damn it, Skyrim is out again. Damn you! It will come out. It's come out on Switch. I bought it on Switch. I've got it on PS3 because I went to my mum's house a couple of weeks ago and it was just there. My old collection was still there, so I picked that up. I've got it on 360. I've got it on PC. Did I say I've got it on my Switch? I'll be playing it on my fucking fridge next week. But Skyrim is just one of those games that you can just never get bored of. I liked watching Skyrim, didn't like playing it, says Iceman. You better change that opinion, boy. Might get a stupid question, but will it be available on gaming for PC? Yes, it is. I think it may already be there, if I'm being honest, or it's coming. I have got Xbox Game Pass for PC. I've already got it on Steam, so obviously I don't need to download it again. But yeah, it should be. Also, special edition bugs, says BG Man. Xbox has a mod support, 60 FPS patch on that bad boy. Yeah. I thought it was the new entrance music for Man City, says Gaga. I mean, I would absolutely love that. There might be a lot of people that probably don't get it, but I'll be cheering them on. Modding Macho Man into Skyrim is great, though. I mean, want the Thomas the Tank Engine and all sorts being modded into it. It's just one of them games. Like, I'm genuinely thinking now that the game that I'm going to play this afternoon isn't going to be Skyrim, but I might jump back into Elder Scrolls Online because it's been a minute since I've played that. And I need a Christmas game now. And I think that could be the one. I've got Assassin's Creed as well, which I want to get into. That my lovely wife bought me for my birthday / launch day for the PlayStation, and I've installed it and I played like, I don't know, maybe an hour of it, but I've not got into it yet because Days Gone's taken precedence. But do I want to get back into Elder Scrolls Online? Absolutely. Will it be today? I have absolutely no idea. But ladies and gentlemen, that is it for today. Your daily dose of the dollop, as you guys in the community like to call it, rather than Scoop, because I'm a single lone man until Graham decides to rejoin us, given his health. He's back on the mend. Thomas says, I've never played any of the Elder Scrolls games. Maybe this is a reason to play Skyrim. I mean, it's a very good end. You was just about to get banned. But yes, it is absolutely a reason. Even if you don't like it, trying it for free is amazing. I can't remember, was it Wicked Slippers that said he never played an RPG before? Yeah, it's got a nice bit of lore behind it. It's a very long game if you want to go through absolutely everything. I mean, even the main storyline is probably 60 hours plus. But it's a very, 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 very good game. If you like games like that, I mean, I've always been into this kind of thing anyway. I think Golden Axe was probably like the first. I don't want to call it Might and Magic, but it kind of was. You had obviously the warrior, the elf, the warlock, and stuff like that. I think that's probably the first one that got me into these kind of games. It wasn't until I played Elder Scrolls that I actually fully got into the RPG kind of games. Obviously, I played things like Final Fantasy, but this is a different breed. This is an absolute different breed. Like, all my mates was massive World of Warcraft fans. I never really got into that, but I think the first proper MMO that I played and enjoyed thoroughly is the Elder Scrolls Online. I think it's absolutely amazing. It wasn't when it first came out. It put me right off playing it on the PlayStation, but playing it on PC was just a different fucking breed. Love the new Assassin's Creed. There's a lot of nods to Assassin's Creed 3. I've got all the Assassin's Creed and I don't like them. Basically because my nephew gave them me. But this is Valhalla. Valhalla looked insane, and I really, really wanted to play it. I don't know whether or not it's just because of the Viking thing. I'm not too sure, but it looked cool. So my missus bought it me. Play it then, mod it to Kingdom Come. I don't think I've ever finished it, says Casey Dice. Can you ever finish Skyrim? Can you ever? Barbarian, then into Golden Axe. Golden Axe was literally just like the pinnacle, wasn't it? Assassin's Creed 3 is my favourite, says one angry BG man. Same with Witcher 3. I get sidetracked, leave it a few months, come back, can't remember what's going on, start again, rinse and repeat. If that isn't the life of an RPG gamer, I don't know what is. That is literally life. Is it? I mean, are you really playing a game if you don't play it for a couple of months, go back and then realise what the fuck you missed? Like, there should be, like, review caps. You know, like you watch a TV series and the start of a new season, it gives you like a recap. That should be the norm going into new games. Finally done Rookie Park. Time to find out what team are getting to the city. I'm guessing again that's on NBA. Samster of Puppets. Master of Puppets, I'm pulling the string. Thank you very much for the follow. I apologise for the bad singing. Baby loves a good Viking, wet dream, lots of dead hard ginger lads bashing heads and drinking ale. I mean, perfect. That does sound like my perfect evening. One Angry BG Man, thank you very much for the follow as well. Thank you very much for getting involved in the conversation today. I don't know whether or not it was your first time around here, but we appreciate all the feedback and the little conversations that we're having. That's what this podcast is all about. We go live each and every single weekday at 10 a.m. ish. But the only way that you can find that out is by following us on social media. It's at Ice Cream Uploads across all major social media platforms, including Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. My name's Bibby, aka We've Got a Beanie. You can find me on Twitter using that at We've Got a Beanie. Graham_Day is obviously the other person who hosts this podcast, but unfortunately he's got COVID at the moment, so he's going through a lot. He will be back whenever he's fit and ready. So it will just be me that will be hosting it. I may get some guests on at some point as well. If you guys don't like this format, if you enjoy this format, this watered down version of it, so we'll go for like 40 minutes rather than the hour and a half that we usually go for, that's absolutely fine. Just let us know in the comments below if you're watching this on YouTube, or you guys in the Twitch. Let us know on social media as well. Again, this does get turned into a podcast, so you can find us on Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play. If you have the ability to please rate us or follow us on any of those platforms, please do that. It will help us out a lot. This year has been mental for the Scoop. It's progressively got bigger and bigger. Our downloads are going through the roof on SoundCloud at the moment. So all you guys over in the US, because that's predominantly, I don't know whether or not it's because of the time that we do it and then the time it goes live. Obviously, with you guys in the UK watching this live at 10 a.m. and it goes onto YouTube about an hour after it's finished. But I don't know whether or not you guys over in the US that are listening to this, you guys wake up in the morning, it's like one of the first notifications that you get that it's gone live on those. But I appreciate every single one of you that are listening over there. But yeah, I think that's it for today. In terms of the podcast anyway, we'll be going live round about an hour's time with some more gameplay of sorts. I want to get this out, chopped down and sent out, and then finish off a few worky bits before we go online. I genuinely don't know what I'm going to be playing yet. I've obviously updated the Elder Scrolls Online last night with a view to playing it today. I don't know whether or not that's something that you guys want to see, or you want me to trying to play Days Gone. I mean, I'm stuck, so I don't know how good of a thing that's going to be. I could play FIFA Seasons. I genuinely don't know. But until tomorrow around 10 a.m. ish, there's only one thing that I want you guys to do, and you guys probably know what this is. You probably got the emote ready. I'm just gonna get rid of that, because I want to spam the shit out of this. If you are a subscriber, you do get access to this exclusive remote. Shogun's already pressed it. 2 words, guys. Stay frosty.